Well, welcome. I'm Tim Sadler. I'm one of the commissioners. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate that it's cold and windy and dark. Tonight is an informational meeting, so it's not a hearing. It's just an informational meeting. We're going to present some information for you, and then I'll look for your questions and comments. Again, I'm Tim Sadler, one of the commissioners. Paul Ozier and Jason Wright, the other commissioners. Over here we've got some of the building committee, chaired by Paul Blaisdell, Kevin Waldman, Lisa Martin, Dennis Manning, Derek over here, and am I missing anybody, Paul? Matt Ozier's not here, and Nate's not here. Again, we thank the Tilton PD for letting us use the space. I want to introduce Tom Roy from Lorero to introduce his team. They're seated up here.
Nice to meet you people. Thank you for coming. I'm Thomas Roy. I'm the Senior Vice President of Lorero.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm the Senior Vice President of Lorero. We're actually a unique company. We do design build, so we have our own engineers, our own architects, all under one roof, and we construct. So we do everything under one roof. So you're working with one entity and getting the whole design and construction done with the same entity. I invited today is Paul Delaire. Paul's been with us for several years. He would serve as the project manager on this project if it passed. Tony Page would be the field superintendent. Tony's been with me for over 15 years and got a great working history. And then here's Brian Wersham. He's our chief estimator and licensed architect. He's licensed in New Hampshire to do architectural work, and he's our chief estimator. So he's worked specifically with everybody here on the committee, the building commissioners, and everything else to make sure that this design was done the way they wanted it done.
Thank you, Tom. There's some information about Lorero on the table over there. If you have any questions about who they are and their skill set, grab one on the way out. Along the back there, we've got a couple renderings of the proposed buildings and the floor plans. And then the firefighters are gracious enough to take some photos of 2 stations, so if you get a minute to peruse those, by all means. Obviously, we'll be talking about those a little bit. So, apologize for reading for notes because I'm not real good off the top of my head. So, the reason why we're here. We're here because the district's present facilities no longer meet the needs of the current department, including our ability to provide safe living and working spaces for our staff and visitors, our ability to properly house and secure our medications that we use on the trucks, and properly safeguarding the millions of dollars worth of trucks and equipment. Over the years, the district has embarked on several building projects without success. The last successful building would be the Park Street Station back in 1986. That building, for those of you who are unaware, I think most of you, I recognize your faces, but that's where we housed a lot of the equipment and apparatus to supplement what we have up at the main station up at Center Street. Several years ago, the commission created a building committee, and they've been working diligently to put together a solution for us, and the district has been kind enough to provide funding for their task. During this latest committee's work, they asked the commissioners for more clarification and direction. The commissioners put out a survey, which you hopefully saw last summer, and filled that out. We'll talk about that a little bit. That didn't give us a real clear direction. So the commissioners then asked the 3 chiefs, and sorry I didn't introduce interim chief Sean Valdani is sitting up here in front, and Deputy Chief Robinson is sitting up here in front. Apologize for not introducing them. They put together a recommendation as what they saw the community would need currently and in the future based on the community needs and the call type and volume. So the commissioners provided that as a document, and that's available on the website, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And we provided that to the building committee as a starting point. So they've come up with this plan, and that's what we're gonna show you tonight. And again, I'll remind you that a lot of the documentation that we refer to is available to you out on the fire department's website. Under the committees, go to building committee, and there's a whole list of every document. We just keep posting it up there. If you need any help with finding those, we're happy to help you out or call the station. So, Paul?
Good evening. Thank you all for spending your weeknight with us. I'll just give a short introduction of the building committee and what we were tasked to do. This building committee
Excuse me, Paul, can you speak up a little bit? The people over on this side can't hear you.
Let's come out in the middle.
I can do that.
Is there a PA system on
Yeah, they have a PA system here, but
I see no microphones. So this building committee has been working since October of 2021, meeting monthly and often twice monthly to determine the best solution to the ongoing building issue within the district. The Center Street Station was built in 1867 to house two pieces of apparatus, and it continues to house two pieces of apparatus today, although they're no longer horse-drawn. The administrative staff and 4 shifts of 4 firefighters. Park Street was built in 1986 to act as a garage to store additional equipment and continues in the capacity today. The fire department has outgrown both stations, and for many years a suitable solution to the building issues has been sought. This committee has reviewed many aspects of sustaining a full-time department, and in addition to providing housing for the equipment, the welfare of the firefighters, and the administration of the district and department resources, we have worked for several years on a mandate provided by the commission. So it's important to remember that we're a building committee. We report to the commissioners. We often struggle with cost versus benefit in trying to determine the willingness of the public to fund a new building. As Tim stated, a survey was distributed to all households in the community in June of 2024 to gauge the needs and wants of the public, with the results showing no overwhelming correction to the commissioners and the committee. It's not that the money was wasted, it's that we didn't get the definitive answers that we anticipate. Yes?
Just a quick question. Out of both towns, how many people responded to that questionnaire?
It was 11%. There were 4,188 surveys sent out and 11% returned.
That's standard, that's actually.
That's better than town hall.
In November of 2024, a new recommendation was given to the committee by the chiefs and the commissioners, and we have been working with that as our guiding document since. The presentation that you are seeing tonight is a culmination of that long, often difficult process. It is important to remember that this guidance was provided by the 3 chiefs with the best interests of the citizens of the community in mind. The commissioners unanimously approved the chief's recommendation, and that the building committee is a committee activated by the commissioners in order to review all aspects of housing a modern fire department, its equipment, and administration with the intent of meeting the goals of that recommendation. That recommendation is available on the fire department website. I have a copy with me if anybody would like to read it. It's a page and a half long. So with that, we'll start the slideshow. Are there any questions so far? So with that, what we'll do is we'll start the slideshow and
Lorero, just so you people know, Lorero, our headquarters is based in Plainville, Connecticut, but we have offices all the way out through New England. I'm the senior vice president in charge of the New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Southern Maine office. We're located in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We have a full-time staff of project managers, superintendents, engineers that work out of our office. On this project alone, I'll be staying involved as, you call it a project executive. I'll be involved from day one and all the way to the final completion. Again, I introduced Paul Delaire. Paul's a local from New Hampshire. Tony Page, another local from New Hampshire. It'll literally live 20 minutes to a half hour away, and they'd be on this project. Myself, I live in Dover, New Hampshire, and again, our office is in Portsmouth. We can go through, I mean, one of the good things I talked about that we do is, we do a design building, we have all our team members working under one roof. It's a huge plus for an owner or a municipality like the town of Tilton and Northfield, that you're working with one entity and we all work together. We're all striving to do the best building design and come up with the best cost to make this building happen at the most reasonable cost. And again, we're located in Portsmouth. We have offices throughout. History for myself, I've done over 35 fire stations in my career, a lot of them in New Hampshire, a lot of them in Manchester, Hudson. Tony Page is another. Tony recently finished a fire station with me up in Hudson, New Hampshire, that came in within budget and was very, very successful. And Paul is one of our best senior project managers. So we have the team here. We have the team to make this thing work for you people. Just to see how everything works out. And thank you for this opportunity.
These are over here if you want to grab one on the way out.
so we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the fire district. The district facilities, we operate two separate buildings right now, one at 12 Center Street and one at 149 Park Street in Northfield. The two facilities are located about 0.8 of a mile apart in what we call the Village District. You'll be hearing a lot about the Village District in discussion because that's the area of Main Street that's most heavily the most buildings are in that area, and they're also the oldest buildings, so there's no modern sprinkler systems or anything like that. The facility at 12 Center Street was built in 1867, and in 1895 it had an addition. It's been remodeled and upgraded numerous times. It features 2 apparatus bays and 1 utility bay. Now it's important to remember that we have to spec our fire engines specifically so they will fit in that station, which means custom designs and elevated costs. There's, in that same building, there's the living quarters for 4 full-time firefighters per shift. There's an administrative space for fire prevention, an administrative assistant, and a chief, deputy chief. 149 Park Street. It shows some of the, I'm sorry, that showed some of the living area. 149 Park Street was built in '86. It features 5 apparatus bays and 1 restaurant. There have been multiple attempts since 1986 to address the fire station needs, and with particular focus on replacing the Center Street facility. Now, Park Street is a garage. That's what it is. There to house equipment. There's no living space. There's no administrative space. As we previously discussed, the district conducted a survey with 11% response. Why we are here. Firefighter health and safety. So new stations include decontamination areas. And this is important because we have working space and we have living space. And the decon area allows the firefighters to remove their contaminated clothing, keep it in a decontamination area, and then move into the living quarters. As it is right now, the decon area in both of those stations is the apparatus bay. So they take their turnout gear off and then go to the living space. Fitness and wellness areas support both the physical and mental demands of firefighting. And you'll see that there are wellness centers in these proposals. These improvements directly reduce cancer risk and long-term health issues for staff. Firehouse repairs. Repairs have been attempted in the past, but structural safety and code issues remain. Independent inspections confirm that major deficiencies exist at both stations. New construction will ensure long-term safety, reliability, and compliance.
Thank you.
ADA compliance. Doing nothing leaves unsafe conditions, ADA non-compliance, and health risks unresolved. And with respect to the community, the emergency call volume has increased in the past 10 years from 1,500 calls to almost 2,200 calls last year. And this year we're on target for about 2,400.
2,400 plus or minus, probably 20 or 30. So it's 100 more calls than last year.
So the next slide shows the facility at Park Street, which again is a garage. I think you've all driven by it once or twice. The next slide is the station at Center Street, and you can see here where the horses used to be housed. There are deficiencies at Center Street, the proximity to Center Street. If we go back to that slide, Brian, please. When you walk out this front door, you're on Center Street. When you take that last step, you are literally in the street. Vehicles and pedestrians exit directly from the building onto the lane of travel of Center Street. There is no fire separation between apparatus bays and the living area. The floor is cracked, deteriorating, and has no drainage. Water pools in the bays. The foundation is cracked and deteriorating. You can see on some of the photos in the back. The stairs, has anybody gone upstairs in that building? The stairs are this wide, and it's like climbing a ladder. And if you're tall like me, you better duck on your way up. There is duty crew and administrative staff of both genders share a single restroom in that building. access to the administrative area. So what we're proposing here is a three-phase approach. And this will extend over several years. The first phase is to construct a station at Sanborn Road, leaving Center Street untouched and leaving Park Street untouched. Phase 2 is to decommission the existing Park Street station and construct the new one, as you see on the boards back there, which will allow administrative staff to move from Center Street to Park Street. In phase 3 will be a decommissioning of Center Street and turning that property over to the town of Tilton. That property is part of a land swap, which will provide the fire district with this lot right next door in return for Center Street, so they can make it a street. So that's the extent of the why we're here. Now I'll turn it over to Tom and Brian to discuss what our proposals are.
Okay. As we discussed in this presentation here, the first phase, once this project is approved,
Excuse me,
start the
can
design process.
you speak up a little bit?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, once this project is approved at the March hearing, we have approximately 4 months of design work to do. That's all the design. What we did on what you see back there with the renderings and the schematic designs are basically the schematics of what the stations will look like and the floor plans will look like, but they haven't been fully designed. We're carrying a 4-month period for design services for both stations. The goal for this is to start the Sanborn station behind us in August of 2026 with an April 2027 completion date. Once that is completed, we will move the apparatus and equipment from the other station on Park Street to here, and then we have a 10-month construction period to tear down the existing fire station on Park Street, build a new one with a start date of June of 2027, with a completion date of March of 2028. Just to give you a quick history of the two stations on Sanborn, we've had at least 24 meetings with the fire chiefs, the commissioners, and the building commissioners to come up with a plan that would work. The Sanborn Road Station is basically 10,200 square feet. Got 6 apparatus bays, a decontamination room with negative pressure, and a gear storage room with negative pressure to address the safety concerns of the firefighters on a daily basis. Sanborn also includes 4 dorm rooms, a wellness and kitchen area, and a storage mezzanine, typical storage products. Once we start over the Park Street station, that proposed square footage is 15,800 square feet. There are 5 apparatus bays, one which will be double deep. Again, we're going to have a decontamination room and a gear storage room, both with negative pressure for the safety of the firefighters and the employees that are working at it. Park Street will also have an office and administration spaces, a community and training room, 6 dorm rooms, a wellness and kitchen area, and again, a storage mezzanine. Brian, you want to talk a little bit about the floor plan and how you...
Well, yeah, I'll just
Across, yeah.
touch on a few things. Go back to it. As Tom said, my name's Brian. Nice to meet you. We had worked with the chief over the last almost 2 years now to come up with these plans, and really the way it works is while I am the architect, we're basically a tool to allow the fire district to get what they need. So I help with the code compliance, thermal requirements, egress, fire ratings, But we work with them on the program that was given to us, and so we basically put the pen to paper and work with them to come up with the layouts that you see here today. To come up with these plans, we took a bunch of things into consideration, one of which is structural ability of the fire stations. Fire stations today have to be essential structures. What that means is they have to be able to withstand the elements, the weather, much more than any other structure that you see. Fire stations, police stations, those are the type of facilities that require this. So what we have right now for the two stations, they don't meet that requirement. Now, they're not structurally deficient necessarily. While there are some problems with Park Street, code requires them to be much more sturdy today than they have been in the past. So as storms come through, they need to be able to function, do what they need to do, no matter what the weather. One of the things also that we were working with on back. For on Park Street here, they obviously have an existing building. Some of the questions that we saw were, why can't you just put an addition on it? The building that's there now has a low eave. It'd be on the right-hand side of the way it's sitting there now. That building cannot take any additional loads put onto it. And if we were building an addition on it, because it is a low eave, we'd have to go taller than what is there right now. So what that means is we'd have to overframe the existing, it'd have to accommodate additional snow drift applied to it from the new addition, and the building that's there just cannot take it. So basically we'd have to remove the roof, remove the walls, and basically be starting from scratch just to put an addition next to what's there right now. And they had the report was done, I think, in about 2019, which determined a lot of the structural deficiencies, I guess, if you will. Again, it's not going to fall down today, but it doesn't meet the requirements of a fire station as it would if it were brand new today. The other thing that we worked on a little bit was trying to optimize some of the circulation paths, being able to get right out from the dorm rooms, just trying to get efficiencies for response times. And also we worked with them to come up with appropriate sized bays, apparatus bays. I'll go back to the other ones so you can see that. What they work with right now, they have basically it's a multi-function room. You can, I don't know if there's any pictures back there, but on Park Street you have the apparatus space. In the back is the gym. It's the wellness space. It's right there. It's open to the apparatus space. The shop is right there. It's open to the apparatus space, and the turnout gear all open to the apparatus space. So what we've done is on both facilities we provide a turnout gear room and a decon space, which will allow to segregate from the hot to the warm areas, basically, and the cold in the office spaces. One thing that we were pretty focused on is cost of construction. These are very durable buildings. They do have costs associated with that, but they're not extravagant. They were bigger. We've worked with them to pull in the sizes and the square footages, reducing the sizes of each of the spaces as much as we can to get it basically as small as possible to meet the function that they're looking for. The Park Street Station. Park Street Station does have a training room. That's obviously needed for training purposes. It's a purposeful built space to train in. You don't have to makeshift move a truck out of the apparatus bay or anything like that.
Brian, if I could?
Sure.
I don't know, I'll go over this floor plan with you a little bit. Hopefully you can see it, but Park Street's here at the bottom. And the building is, the old building would be,
Basically right where the apparatus is.
yeah, right here. So what you have is 3 bays in the front, 2 on the side. This one's double deep. This space allows for miscellaneous equipment. From the picture you saw the hose tower over here. It's commonly referred to that way, but it's also a training space. And I'm sure Sean can talk a little bit more about that. We've got a space for our SCBA equipment and refilling, the shop as you mentioned, boiler room back here in the back, and And that's the apparatus bay. And then when you move this way, here's our turnout gear immediately adjacent. That's one of those negative pressure rooms, so you don't get any contamination from any of the turnout gear into the rest of the building. This is decon, so if you were to come back from a situation where you needed to be to go through decon, this series here, that's what these rooms are. And again, you move through this into the living space. This is EMS storage. That's where we keep all the medication and that type of equipment for the ambulances. And then as you move across the front, this is your lobby. These are office spaces here. This is that training room. There's mechanical space here. And then we have bathrooms, storage room, IT closet. This is the wellness center. And then up here is for the firefighters, so we have their day room here. We have dorm rooms across the top, captain's office, laundry room, custodial room, and bathrooms. So that's sort of how the layout works there. There's a little more grade slope in this property than you might expect. So back here, so when you look at, can you go back another slide to the front photo? This one here. You see the ground slopes away. We've got a staircase up here to get up to the floor level versus over there we're at floor level. And then that's that training tower, hose tower. That gives us access to the roof and windows out the side and back for training. We go to the Sanborn Road. So here, Sanborn Road's out front here. At the bottom, the police station is right over here. So we've got apparatus bays, 6, 3 out the back, 3 out the front. We have that same turnout gear here. We've got the decon running right here. There's that wellness room and the day room for the firefighters. And then we've got bathrooms and dorm rooms, an office with an on-duty captain, another restroom, and then mechanical and IT closet, sprinkler system room. And here's that EMS storage that you have at the other building for all the supplies and a workshop. These 3 spaces have a mezzanine over them. The other plan has a little mezzanine area as well. Just wanted to make that clear. The boards up back have the same floor plan, so if you want to look at that more closely, when you get a minute,
How many are we housing in the dorms? How many people are you now planning on?
So this building will house 4. This has got 4 dorm rooms. And when this is the first building in the phased approach, and we would move the current 4 firefighters from Center Street over here to this building during the construction phase of the Park Street station. And then Sean can talk more to this. And then when the Park Street station is done, these 4 firefighters will move over to Park Street. And at that point, the commissioners would be asking for 8 more firefighters to up the shifts from
2 per
2
shift.
per shift. So instead of having 4 guys on per shift, we have 6.
Why?
And 2 of those would be housed over here in this building, and Sean can talk to that a little bit more.
Would you talk to the time frame of when you plan those hirings?
Well, we couldn't do the hirings until we have the building. And
So are you saying in 28 or
28,
30
29.
or 32?
well, we would like to have the firefighters now. We just don't have anywhere to house them. So yeah, it's in the future.
When you start talking budget for all this stuff, I think that's what most of us want to know.
We get to that next.
All right, let's
Right
get
back
into
to
it. The taxpayers want to hear about how much it's going to cost.
Can I ask another stupid question? I've been here for 44 years. Why are we getting a hose tower? We have never had one. Now we're gonna add something onto a building that we never used before.
For years, we had a hose dryer that failed many, many years ago. We're currently drooping hose across stanchions that stick out of the wall. A lot of the hose manufactured today internally won't rot or doesn't rot, but because it's fabric on the outside, when it gets put back onto a vehicle wet, it molds. So a hose tower would certainly be a nice addition.
It'd be a nice addition, but that's more money,
Yes,
putting
it
that
is.
to a building.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But hose is expensive too,
Yeah.
when it rots.
So like I said, you never had one that we could physically see.
Well, but I also want to make it very clear, we're operating in a station that was built in the 1800s.
I know.
Firefighters
but
are
even
very,
even the news station in Park Street doesn't have that.
firefighters are very adaptable people. And we take a bad situation and we always make it good. And like I say, we're operating in, I believe, the oldest fire station in the state of New Hampshire. It's number 1 and number 2. So yes, it certainly would be a nice addition to have a hose drying tower rather than drooping it on the side walls.
But how much does that cost?
I
Yeah,
don't
right,
have the
yeah.
answer for that.
I'm
doesn't need to be that
not
extravagant.
against getting rid of Central Street, because I have gone up and down those stairs a few times myself. And I'm getting a little too old to go up and down those stairs too, so.
So, to come up with this cost, we worked with the engineers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers. We pulled together all the loads required for the building. We pulled together all the cuts for the mechanical equipment. We've shared all this information with our subcontractor base. We pulled in actual pricing from some contractors to come up with these totals today. Because they are schematic, we do have some contingency built in, as well as an inflationary cost. We don't know what they're gonna cost 2 years from now, but we got a plan for the cost going up between now and then.
What's the contingency? How much is it?
So, depending on the building, so Sanborn Road, right now, there's an inflationary 5% contingency, and then the construction contingency is 10%.
Okay.
On Park Street, because it's further out, right now the inflation is 12.5%, same 10% contingency. If we don't use this money, it goes right back to the department, it doesn't get spent. This isn't a contractor who pockets the money. Also, as we go forward with the project, it's a cost plus project. So we reach out to multiple subcontractors, we get multiple prices, we work with the department to determine what's the most economical way to move forward, and whatever doesn't get spent goes back to them. This isn't a contractor that pockets the money or any of the savings, it goes right back to you. Yep.
No, it
$1
doesn't go to
million
the taxpayers. It does not come back. No, it doesn't. Let's get that straight right now.
Putting the total together, this is basically just adding up the math between the two buildings. And then I'll go
Is
through it real
the
quick. So the construction budget-
demolition costs for the existing station,
Say that, I'm sorry?
the demolition costs
The
for...
demolition cost for Park Street are in the cost of these totals here. The cost for Center Street is going to be handled with the fire district.
We've gone out and gotten pricing on the demolition of Center Street and then the paving of that lot. We got a quote of $95,000 for that project.
And what about Park Street?
Park Street is built into these prices.
What's the approximate demolition of Park Street? Well, I should ask my question first. What happened to the plan of possibly using the existing apparatus bay as admin space, using it as shell within a shell, hurricane clipping, putting some other stuff down below, putting your apparatus to the other side that could be accessed single grade by a ramp and stairs?
That's not included in this project.
Oh, it would have saved a lot of money on this project.
Talk a little bit?
Yes.
So, because the grade does slope away,
Mhm.
you want both areas to be at the same plane. Ramping down, depending on how far you ramp at 1 to 12 or 1 to 20, makes a pretty long ramp the further you go.
The ramp is secondary, the stairs would be primary. The fire convention even said that that's a common practice.
So,
Yeah, the fire convention, the fire building convention.
Sure, you'd still need a ramp.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a secondary means to get down to that level, so
Correct,
that you have
correct.
wheelchair, but you could use stairs that the firefighters could
Oh,
use as quick
absolutely.
response.
You're correct, yep. As you see over to the right, I'll here real quick. Anything past here is wetlands. In this area here is an old stump dump. And as the grade slopes this way, we need an area for retention basin. So that basically limits our work up from here, that direction.
Wasn't pits, test pits done out that area to show that they could handle it?
We do have geotech, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it can handle, but again, you're talking going down lower and ramping and, again, the office space within the existing would still need to meet essential functions.
Yep.
And having an addition right next to it would still have some structural issues with the existing building.
Mhm.
You can't just add clips to it and
No, there's a little bit more, but you could put center structure supports inside as you're building up the interior space. You could put steel in there and help support those trusses to meet the loads and the current standard.
You would be tearing the roof off and totally taking it down on the ground to do all of those issues.
Okay.
So really, that takes us, I'll just read these real quick. So the construction budget, $15,226,624. Design fee, $1,248,957. Contractors overhead profit and at 7%, $1,065,864. Bonding, $113,753. Inflation between the two projects, $1,532,023. That brings us to the subtotal, $19,187,221. Contingency of $1,918,722. For the guaranteed maximum price of $21,105,943.
What's the land cost on any of this?
Zero.
No land purchase.
Right.
Both locations have an existing tower. There's an existing tower that we utilize at Park Street. There's a tower here that would be utilized as well.
I just want to bring up one other point too. To get budget prices, we did go out to bonafide subcontractors that we trusted. But when you have a schematic design like this, you gotta go to somebody that you really trust. So we've only gotten basically 1 to 2 numbers on every trade. If this one passed and went to the construction process, we would get at least 5 numbers on every trade. So typically with the projects that we've done in our past, what you see over here is a guaranteed maximum price. We have to make sure that the money that is approved and appropriated is going to be enough so we're not coming back to the town for more. But in reality, once we get pricing from, multiple pricing from each trade, we're very confident that pricing is going to come down considerably, and it has in all our past projects. And Brian talked about open book. With an open book process, you see absolutely everything. Every penny that's spent, you see. The proposals are all reviewed by everybody. Decisions are made to use specific contractors with the lower prices. Everything we can save, every penny is documented on a monthly basis, and again, it goes back to the taxpayers. Just want to reiterate that we can't, when a schematic drawing like this, and the way the subcontractor base is busy right now, there's no way we could go out and get apples to apples until the thing is fully designed. But we do have a very strong sub-base with we use generally 8 very qualified electricians, plumbers, HVAC, framers, masons, you name it, foundation contractors. We have the sources, but we need the full design to go out and get the actual prices. This is a GMP that makes sure that we're covered.
Do you guys have a plan B if this fails?
No.
Like plan A, plan B?
Nope.
Give us some
Remember you talked before about choices.
choices would
That's
be.
why we did a survey to everybody, right? And try to have meetings like this and get, gauge. I mean, communication works both ways, Scott. This has been tough, and I've only been in town a couple of decades, and we've been in people's lives. As many times as this can get kicked down the road when it was $4 million or $2 million or $500,000 to put something on the back of Park Street. It's hard to have choices, but the plan, the commission has talked about, and the plan that the chiefs has talked about, that has come together, is to try to have a plan that's good for the next 50 years or more. We've already been in a situation that Park Street is about 40 years old, and Center Street is plus years old. So we're trying, and I, not to take a side to it, but I sat on a committee that built the building we're sitting at. And to try to have a 50-year building, that's really the plan, because we need to do something in Tilton, we need to do something in Northfield, we need to respond to, we gotta provide care that we're providing now, and we try to have response times and uphold the level of service and the level of response that we have now. So that's really the plan, and I don't know if there's a plan to Scott that really will run the business and run the life saving the way we run it, and continue the growth. And I know Chief Galvani to sit down and give us, all the rundown of all the growth and all the blueprints and all the drawing plans and all the applications for building that have come to both towns. And our growth goes like this, and our call volume goes like this. So I don't know that there's a plan B where we could suck it up and then 20 years from now or 10 years from now we go, we underdid it, or we underbuilt it, or we were in short. So that's for everybody to discuss and to try to figure out the committee folks, and we'll talk more later in the week and then we're going to district meeting. But I don't know that there's, I'm not sure what the plan is that's going to take care of us.
Quick
once
question.
for the next 50 years.
With the cost that we've been seeing so far, is there any typical range of how that affects the taxes in each town?
Yes.
They go up 5%, they go up.
Oh, I can speak to that. No, it will be more than that. If we were to take that number, can you go back a slide, Ryan? If we were to take that number and go out and get a 20-year bond on it today, the bond rate was quoted at 4.3%.
Wow.
And you did a 20-year bond on $21 million. The annual cost to repay that would be, the first year would be about $2 million. The current budget for the fire department is $3.7 million. So in Tilton, your tax rate for the fire station is $2.03, and in Northfield, I think it's $2.06. You'd be adding $1.21 to that rate in that first year, if you were to do a 20-year bond. And that 20-year bond would be almost $10 million worth of interest.
So our taxes would go up 50% from the fire district, is what you're saying.
If we did it this way, yes. Now,
And that's before
yeah,
new firemen,
right,
increased
go to the
maintenance
next slide.
costs and everything else.
So additionally, we calculated out what the current costs were for utilities, and currently we're paying about $22,900, and we took that right off of our utility bills. The proposed station, and they can probably talk about the models they used to come up with these numbers, it goes up to $59,000. And so the reason for that, obviously, we have a lot more square footage to heat and air condition. But the other problem that we have is right now the two stations are heated with natural gas, and the gas company isn't providing any more hookups. So the proposed stations are both set up for propane. The proposal would have them piped for natural gas when natural gas becomes available, but the heating source at the get-go would be propane, and that's a significant increase in cost.
That would be the only option, like at the school district. Some of the schools have an A or B. You either have, natural gas, and then the backup is, electric or something. So we have an A or B, and then we have the wood pellets. So we're only counting on propane and then possibly future natural gas hookup?
Yeah, the utility has already indicated that they're working on getting more supply to our area. And again, the buildings won't be finished for another year, 2, 3. So that was the idea, would be to switch them to natural gas as soon as natural gas is available.
Is it more economical to do the pre-planning of the future natural gas? Because it can be very expensive.
Right, that's why The biggest thing is the piping size within the building, the natural gas.
And where is the last hookup in connection with these buildings? Is it a mile away, 2 miles away? Because if we're putting in the piping and doing the infrastructure, that could
Down the
be,
bottom of the street.
Yeah,
it's just down at Route
The
3.
utility is not allowing any.
they're refusing new hookups, they refuse to hook up.
There's a
But-
place.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, but to answer your question, Park Street already has natural gas, so it's already there.
Okay.
Piping size, right? I had that same question, I think I know it. The piping size they're talking about, it's just sizing the piping inside the building to be able to accept natural gas or propane, either or. It's not piping on the outside of the building, it's just the piping on the inside of the building going to each appliance can either handle natural gas or LP. Just because of pressures and stuff that I don't understand because I'm not a gas fitter. There is different size piping that you need, and all it is just ensuring that piping size is adequate for natural gas or liquid propane.
Okay. No, I know what you're saying, thank you.
I have one question. Isn't this building already natural gas heat?
It is.
So,
There's gas here. Yes.
what?
There's gas here in the area. yes.
Right, yeah, so they should be able to get into the other building without.
They're
Well,
not
they're
accepting any new gas, they're gonna say no.
Eventually, yes, but right now they won't take any new.
So their current infrastructure will not sustain adding on to the new building at this current time.
Correct.
They don't have enough fuel to get to fill the pipe for anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so when we go down to maintenance, this is what we currently spent for maintenance at the two buildings. Again, using an algorithm to come up with what the maintenance would be with the new buildings. That's what they came up with. A lot of the maintenance features that are included in some of those tools to help you estimate this, we already cover under maintenance out of our apparatus and equipment fund. So it was very difficult to come up with what those numbers would be, and that's why you see them rounded up. They're probably high, but we want it to be high as compared to low.
And that's an annual future cost?
Yes, that's all maintenance. So obviously, when the building's brand new, there's not a lot of maintenance, but down the road, based on square footage. You just made me think of something. When we were talking, when the committee was doing their work as far as trying to make the building as affordable as possible, it is a masonry building, so there's a lot of cost in that. But we did that for longevity, and all the interior walls are masonry. The floors are all polished concrete, so there's no floor coverings in any of the buildings anywhere, in an effort to try to make it low maintenance, easy to care for, and long life and durable without having cost of, be pulling up tile or carpeting and whatnot, or patching sheetrock that got damaged.
So what is the anticipated long life? What are you thinking?
The life of the building?
Every aspect of the building has a different lifespan. Obviously, the structure itself is going to last a very long time. Right? This isn't a 15, 20-year structure. It's going to be there for a very long time. Obviously, the roof you'll be replacing after so long.
So the regular maintenance?
Yeah, but the structure itself, these are going to last a very long time.
Because we got like almost 20 years out of the last one, so I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, what is it?
All right, and then you see the new personnel, the cost there. 8 guys, depending on their family status for their health insurance and their level of certifications that they come with. You see it's about $100,000 per person, all in when you take into consider insurance and workers' comp and
Equipment, uniforms?
Pension?
right. So that's the cost there. Frank, can we go to the next slide?
Is that annual? An
Yeah, that
additional
would be
800 plus annually?
And then these are costs that are not included in their proposal from Valero. So we have we hire someone to do our own testing to make sure that everything's happening the way it should be, and that's estimated at $100,000. This is furniture and fixtures and equipment for the new buildings, and we have a list we come up with. It's about $300,000, of which $100,000 of that would come out of the equipment and apparatus fund. The other $200,000 would either come out of the operating budget or be bonded with the project. clerk of the works to oversee as a district representative.
Why do you have a clerk?
It's to keep an eye on us on their behalf, basically.
Well, we didn't have a clerk for this building.
Yeah, we did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, we did. Did it internal.
You did.
Yeah.
And we had one for the town garage too.
Yeah.
CCI did that construction. So the clerk.
Right. Brian, is there another slide after that? Oh, sure, that one.
No questions.
The Land and Building Trust Fund currently has $959,000 in it. So that's obviously money available towards this project, and obviously some of those fees. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we go to?
Can you go to the next, before you go to the next subject, you're talking about that there's over $900,000 currently in that fund.
Yes, $954,000.
Will DRA let us bring that down, or do they have, like, guidelines we have to keep 6% in or something? Can we use that money that we've saved almost down to like $1 or something, or do we have to keep a reserve in that? Do we know?
I
Have you
don't
checked
know
with
the answer
DRA?
to that question.
You can take it all.
You can take it all? Okay. All right. Thanks, Greg.
Spend all of it, that's what we say.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you get told no. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
To what extent is the facility design and additional employees based on future population projections?
We're looking at the call volume increase over time and the growth in town. I would love it if Sean spoke to the growth.
I'll just give 5 minutes on. I can give you 5 minutes on operations. As far as the buildings are concerned, I'm coming in this. I've been here for a week and a half as the interim chief. I've been in the department. But I've been here for 20 years, and I've seen the growth of the town over the 20 years. I know a lot of the faces in here. You guys, a lot of know me. As far as the buildings are concerned, Lorero and the building committee have spent 4 years on this. I applaud them. It's a great facility. I'm not here to speak on the facility, yay, nay, or how it's set up. They've done their homework, and they've done 4 years of the building. I can speak operationally, and I just want to give you kind of a backstory on operationally wise. The village district for 100 years has been where our call volume is. That's where our old buildings are. That's where our multi-family buildings are, unprotected, unsprinkled buildings, and where realistically it's where our at-risk population is all in the village district. The Tilton School's there, the high school is there, the elementary schools, our charter school is there, the veterans home is there. That is where our call volume is. Back in 2018 is when we decided that we needed 4 people per shift. If it might have been 17. And at the time we were doing about 1,800 calls a year. We went to 4 shifts, 4 personnel per shift. And really, it's because of the village district. That village district is busy. It still is busy today. The population's it's not getting younger. The buildings aren't getting any younger, and the buildings still are not protected. Those 4 people are necessary in that village district. And that's why we want them in that village district. We've already proven, ambulance-wise, that it's amazing having the 4 guys down there. And I can't take those 4 men away from, or 4 people, I'm sorry, away from that village district. But I see, as the fire prevention officer for the past 3 years, I see where our permits are. I see where the growth is, and the growth is this way. And that is, so Sanborn Road is really for our future growth. We talk about 6 people per shift. Why is there 4 down in the village, and why is there 2 up here? And the reason there's 2 up here is because the buildings up here, they're new, they're sprinkled, they have fire alarms. The residential homes, they have good sheetrock, they have good, I'm sorry, Catherine. Most of them. The majority of the homes, have good smoke detection, and there's risks everywhere, right? We're a risk management department. If we had the perfect world and all the money in the world, I would have fire stations everywhere, right? And that's just not possible. And looking, in our past and looking at our future, our fire problem, our medical problem, and our real big problem is the village district. But this East Tilton area is growing. I've said it in public before, and I'll say it again. I believe Tilton Northfield would be a great one-station fire department at the eastern part of the village district. That doesn't exist. We do not have a piece of property in the eastern portion of the village district to build it. We tried at the Tilton School, that failed. That would have been an unbelievable location to have one fire station for this district. I don't believe that land's available any longer. These are the two pieces of property we have that we're not paying for. I think everybody knows how expensive East Tilton property is. It doesn't exist. The ability to get a piece of property for a land swap is amazing. Do I want two stations? No. I mean, this is a big ask, right? And again, I'm not going to get into the stations. I'm only going to get into the operational capacity. But we need the 4 people down in that village district. But we also have to look towards the future and see the growth in East Tilton and where that's going.
But if you eliminate the station down there, it's not going to help in the village.
Park Street.
So Park Street's still in the village. Park Street
it's considered still in the village.
Yeah,
Okay.
Park Street is in the southern and the
What
southern.
my biggest concern is you're going to remodel Park Street and you're going to put another facility here. You're going to duplicate everything in both stations and double the cost. It's doubling the cost of all the facilities. And that's a duplication of effort. If that costs $2 or $3 million more than putting one station in, one facility in, it's worth it. It's worth it to put one station. If we're saving money with this duplication of, we have this over here, all this equipment over here, we have all this equipment over there, and to me it doesn't make sense. When I got that envelope, I thought it was going to be either here or either Park Street, either or, and no, it's both. And you're asking. And by the way, my name is Tom Damon, for those of you who don't know me. You're fortunate enough not to know me. And Too Tall Tom from Tilton, by the way. But I'm very, very concerned because the town manager told me there's 30,000 cars go through this town every day. Every single day there's 30,000 cars. And they call up and they go, oh, I locked my keys in my car. Or, okay, I got a flat tire and this and it blocks the roadway. And if you have an accident up here and somebody's having a heart attack over here, the road's blocked. And what I'm concerned about is the safety of the residents of the town. The safety and the health of the residents of the town.
But that's exactly why you have 2 stations, because they can respond from both sides of the world.
Right, right, I understand. I understand
and I
that.
think that your heart attack example is classic, because for me, I'm going to have a heart attack one day, and I'm down in the southern part of Northfield or wherever.
Yeah.
And if I'm serviced out of here, I'm going to die before they get there.
Okay.
I don't want to have that happen.
Okay.
Maybe you do, but I.
But the chief has just said that the majority of your calls are in the village.
How does this all?
Let's put it in the village.
How does this all affect response time to the village or anywhere else?
So neither is a great, as a single station, is that what you're asking? Or?
No, it's.
So if we have 2 stations with 2 personnel here and 4 down at Park Street, response times are going to be way better than they are now. So just so you understand now, on a first call from Center Street Center Street's actually not a bad location for a single station. On a first call from Center Street, we have 1 ambulance and 1 engine there. So on the first call, I can get the appropriate people, probably to the appropriate place in the appropriate amount of time. On a second call, my personnel have to go from Center Street, and it takes about 5 to 6 minutes. We timed it once. You have to get in the truck at Center Street with all your gear, drive to Park Street, get out of the truck, take all your gear, bring it into the second ambulance at Park Street, and then go. It's about a 5 to 6 minute delay, and then you're responding from Park Street. That is the problem currently. It's not a good second call, and historically 25 to 30% of our calls are second calls. We do about 6 emergency calls a day on average, 6 to 7, somewhere in there. So you can guarantee twice a day, pretty much, we're gonna have a second call. And so twice a day, every single week, every single year, our guys are getting out of Center Street, getting in a truck, driving an additional 5 to 6 minutes. So this, having the 2 stations is gonna drastically reduce response times. Response times aren't the end-all be-all, but they're really important. And did that answer the question? Okay.
Excuse me. Can I ask something about cost here? It was said that it's gonna be $1.21 on the fire department operation with these both projects. How much would that mean for a homeowner that has a $300,000 house? Let's just use that as a rough. I'm figuring about $350 roughly.
Increase, yeah.
A year, increase in taxes.
That's just the building.
That's
before the actual
That's the building, yeah.
Yeah, that's just the building, Mr. King,
Yeah,
not the additional employees.
right,
So you're over $400.
yeah, on a, say, $300,000 home.
Yeah.
Let's just use that as a figure.
So have you calculated how many extra people won't be able to live here because the taxes are
Yeah, the
more than
tax
they
is
can
gonna
afford
be
to
too
pay?
high.
Yeah, I'll be one of them.
Yeah, the residents that have
Won't be
lived
able to-
all their lives are gonna be pushed out for the
All right.
new August.
I'll outlive you.
I think you should also know that Wednesday night, I can't attend the meeting because Wednesday night in Northfield, there's a public hearing on the new proposal for the county to put in a mental health facility at the McLeod building. So we've got another, I don't even know how many million that new facility is gonna go. So you could probably come close to doubling this number for Northfield for that additional cost coming up from
Please
their
look at your
proposal.
tax bill to see what impacts your tax bill. The schools, do you live in Tilton, sewer district, water district, the town. You know, I live in Northfield, and they talk about things going up. We tend to be a little pissy, I'm sorry, I'm going to be being taped, but you know what, because we don't have Route 3
Yeah.
real estate to offset
Right.
our expenditures. It comes out of our pocket, so we don't have that revenue, but
I just, the cloud building, I see all the building permits and plans, I haven't seen it yet, I'm just curious what the McLeod building is, I don't know, is that in Northfield somewhere? Or?
Part of the county complex over by the nursing home?
Oh, in Merrimack, oh, it's a county, okay, I'm
Yes,
sorry, it's
but-
not in Northfield,
but
but it does,
Northfield-
it affects your town, okay. I was-
Northfield will have that cost.
Cost,
That-
Tilton won't.
and that
Okay, I
becomes
got
one
you.
of our expenses, and that's something we try to show, so.
But that's a whole county cost.
But I just want to remind the Tilton residents, we're already paying on a bond for this police station. And we're already paying on a sewer bond.
And
Just-
the
And the school
CTE
board.
for the school.
So we're already,
New York hat, you had a lot, I think you've had your hand raised a couple times.
I was just wondering if you could talk about that 1,000 call growth. I mean, is it mostly ambulance calls? Like how much of
Mostly
actual
ambulance
fire
calls. So it's mostly ambulance. And then we're an EMS service that puts out fire, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say we fight fire and run into burning buildings all day long. We're an EMS service that puts out fire. About 70% of our calls are EMS calls. So for every 1,000 calls extra we do, 700 are the ambulance calls.
And how much is the explosion of growth in the commercial space in this area impacting all of this?
I don't have
We're
the
still
data.
small towns.
No, I don't have the
residential
data
ones.
behind that, so it's all anecdotal, right? But I don't think it's as much as you think. It's still, the village district, the call volume in the village is going up just as much as everywhere else. It's typically residents, right? It's EMS calls. So the commercial growth doesn't really affect that EMS call.
I guess I'm talking about traffic, like car accidents.
Car accidents.
Against 30,000 people coming through because of the outlets and
Yep.
all that other stuff that hasn't lowered my taxes on either.
Yeah, we've never done a study on it. I could probably say accidents are actually lower, but it's all because of that in front of Tilton Diner when they made that from 3 lanes to 2. That saved us about 75 calls a year. So our accidents are probably down, but it's all due to that like one place.
Do you guys track calls to like Walmart and stuff like that?
I could, I can go back and gather that data and find that data out. I don't, on a week, on a monthly basis, I mean, I don't say how many times do we go to Walmart, how
It
many
was
times.
just helpful to hear the police chief say they go to Walmart twice a day.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
like, our
sometimes
taxes are
four
going
times a
up
day.
as a resident for all
Yeah,
of these.
I can tell you
commercial
our,
stores.
our biggest, I think our number one call volume by location is the New Hampshire Veterans Home. Number two would probably be somewhere on either the highway, we kind of track the highway as its own, the highway or Highland Mountain Bike Park. I know those are our probably two biggest. I can't think of another one. Those are the two big ones right there, is Highland Mountain Bike Park, which is up Bean Hill Road, and then New Hampshire Veterans Home would be our biggest call volume.
Do we have impact fees for any of these?
They pay permit fees, they're low, but they're just permit fees, no impact fees that I know of.
Tilton has them, but they don't use them.
So my concern, I'm in Northfield, Scott Haskins, that building, you keep saying it's a garage, right? It's not a facility, it's a garage. So my thought process, again, going back to Plan B, this is Plan A, has anybody even talked about just, I know you can't live in it, but keep that building there, because that's a perfectly good garage, and just put a addition on for at least half of the stuff that you're looking for, because this facility is gonna get all the exercise equipment and stuff. So I'm not understanding why that building needs to come down and build a bigger one. Why can't we just add on with a breezeway or something like that, so people can't, they're still using going inside.
I'm gonna let
We're teaching
Toby
people.
or somebody, if you don't mind, or somebody. Brian.
Yeah, I mean, really it comes down to the structural ability of it. Putting an addition on it, we put all sorts of loads that it wasn't designed to have. So the snow drift that goes on it from a taller building sitting next to it, to the overframing to accommodate the larger structure next to it. The study was done, it was a third-party engineer that looked at it back in 2019 and did up the report.
But that's, not to interrupt you, but that's like Plan B, that could be a cheaper version. Like, I'm sure there's folks in the town that would love to have all this stuff, but me as a taxpayer, like a handful, I understand you need a new facility, I get that. But we need something cost-wise, and then with all these new people coming into town and businesses, maybe down the road, we can add on to something else. You know, bring them to the taxpayers then, 10 years from now. But at this point, I would hate to see this, I have a funny feeling it's gonna die, and we're gonna be back to square one. That's why I'm always wanting Plan B, that's all.
If I could, we didn't come into this knowing that it was gonna have this cost.
Oh, of course not, right.
So the way we get to the cost is doing this exercise. So what we've done as a building committee is try to balance the requirements of the district and the taxpayer, because we're all taxpayers.
Right.
So if we had come into this with a number, we would probably have designed a different building. So to have two plans doubles the engineering cost, the architectural cost. So, no, there is no Plan B right now, because we need to determine if Plan A can work for you and can work for the department. So that's kind of where we are right now, Scott.
Yeah, it's frustrating at times, you know.
Trust me.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you guys are going through it this month.
So we're talking about a 75% increase in the fire district with the buildings plus the staff. We're talking about roughly 75% increase per thousand for us taxpayers. You know, you said 50% would be just for the buildings, another $1 million plus for the extra firemen. That's about 75% increase in our district taxes for the fire district.
I don't think it'd be quite that much, but yeah, it would be more than 50 for sure.
The building alone is 50, right?
Wow. 3.7 versus.
So a $500,000 home is like gonna be another $1,000, $1,500 a year.
Yep.
And everybody's $500,000 in Tilton now, even mobile homes, so.
Yep.
Just for the fire district.
Yes,
Just
for the fire district.
Just for the fire district.
People can't afford that.
Right. Because we're basing this, look around the room here, looks like a majority of us are senior citizens.
Okay.
But,
You're right, though.
so what I'm saying is a lot of us gonna be on limited income, and I don't see very many people like in their thirties or whatever that will probably be making,
They don't volunteer either.
right, probably making money that could help support this, so I'm hoping that pencils can really be sharpened to take that into account, that both towns got a lot of citizens that are gonna be, you know, up there in age and working on this, trying to do something with this, hopefully, in one way or another. But we're gonna have limited funds that we can put towards it. Just a fact.
Well, and that, you bring up a good point about, an aging population, and that's where the colorblind goes.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, we've talked about that at a district meeting, about, the aging population of our two communities, or our one community as a district, and that's where the need is. And for those of us in the room, how many different fire station projects have we had at a much lesser cost, prior year? As a sewer commissioner, I've watched projects go from $2 million to $4 million in just a very short amount of time. I think part of an undertone here of a two-station concept is it's never going to be less expensive than you do it today. And I wish we did it 10 years ago, and I wish we did it 15 years ago.
Yeah, because
But it's never going to cost less than it is
right.
today.
And the unfortunate fact is that people are gonna vote with their wallet.
Yeah.
Which is
And plan B always is plan A, there's no plan B. It would be counterintuitive for us to stand up here or come up here. The district appropriates like hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past how many years to have building committees. And then we put together what we think the district wants. And I was a big proponent for the survey because instead of having 5 people that are trying to guess what everybody's gonna vote on, I said, let's do a survey. So out of all those thousands of people in this community, we had 497 respondents. Okay, and out of those 497 responses, it was as clear as mud. The only thing that was clear, the biggest thing out there was not a lot of numbers, but the biggest thing that we saw was 2 stations. 2 local people wanted a station in Northfield, people wanted a station in Tilton. They said we want both towns service. So but again, back to the Plan B. Why would we ever come together as a committee to come up with 2 plans? Like I said, that doesn't make any sense. You plan for it. So we look at, like you said, we looked at all the data, we looked at the needs, we looked at modern building requirements, we looked at modern facilities, with the carcinogenics and stuff like that, you have to have those rooms. You have to have decon. We don't have it because, you know what? What I always tell people is I relate it to like the Army, right? We used to ride horses. That was the cavalry in the Army. Now it's Apache helicopters, it's tanks, and it's armored personnel carrier. Nobody's riding a horse in the battle anymore. So why would we expect our firefighters to do the same thing? And as far as being a taxpayer in Tilton, yes, mine's going to be double. My house is up there. I'm going to be paying a lot of money. A $30 million bond over 20 years for a fire department is a hell of a lot more palatable for me, for the infrastructure that we have in our fire and EMS services, than $30+ million every year going to a school. That school district, I had to tuition my daughter out of here. That's my thing. But you know what? I see more value in this than I do $30+ million every year.
Can I just make a quick point? Because I did talk to someone. I don't know if anybody's driven down Route 140 in Gilmanton, heading into Alton, and they have that beautiful life safety building on the left that they had to have because their current fire station was not safe. It was this, it was that. It was this, it was that. It's awful. All these negative things. So they had a building committee, and I talked to one of the members because I got to work with them. And he said, you take me on a tour, and I said, I grew in town. I don't think we're there yet, but that building, every time you go by, it's empty. Have you ever seen more than 1 or 2 cars there? Empty. But when I drive by the fire station during the summer, every Friday afternoon, just before 5, and they have 5, 6, 7 cars out there. Sunday when I come home, all kinds of people. Now, I don't know if they're doing training on the weekend. I don't know if it's what's going on, but I've talked to taxpayers. Can you imagine how happy they are that they have this beautiful building and it's empty? A life safety building, it's empty. My fear is that we're going to spend, estimated $21 million, which is a lot of money. Because everybody who knows me, I'm cheap. That's a lot of money, and it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Yes, I know you need it, yes. But the last time I've come to meetings, you had granite countertop. Don't do it. I will tear you apart publicly. I'll embarrass you, because I'm now an old person, and I get to see what I want. But I get to go to these meetings, and you have granite countertops, because when I was at that meeting, I almost fell over laughing, because I said, $4 million, and I was at the meeting, going, what, granite countertops? Yeah. My head almost imploded, but I knew I was safe because I had firefighters in there, and, you know. Point is, granite countertops, I'm assuming this is just gonna be like on TV, you're gonna have a commercial type of countertop, basic no frills, you're gonna have refrigerators, I'm hoping that they're not restaurant grade, and they might be commercial grade for you know, this and that, but, you know, I gotta tell you, $21 million is gonna be hard to swallow. I don't disrespect your time, I don't, because you guys have volunteered, including the staff. I know that you're doing this on your own time most times. I don't disrespect it. But $4 million didn't fly, and what was the one on Tilton? That was like 7 or 9?
No, 7.
So 7. That also.
On that one, we had to do a lot of infrastructure and do a lot of ground prep and bring in
$1 million.
water. So we had to do development for the developer that was part of the whole.
Listen, I know,
Yeah,
we got
well,
free land, it was gonna cost us $1 million
Yeah.
for doing ledge.
The subsurface and what we owed the developer and the landowner was almost as much as above ground.
Correct.
Is that
So
where
that's my
Wallace
only
is
fear.
going?
Well, the old, remember the, behind the
Mansfield
oil
Road.
change place?
Behind-
That was, remember that proposal?
Yeah,
That
with
was,
7
yeah,
million.
yeah. and-
So my only fear is, do you invest this money, and the last one was a 30-year bond, and when I asked about what the life expectancy of the building was, and I got 30 years, and I'm like, and no offense to any of the builders and stuff, my father was a builder. The building down the street is hundreds of years old, and then you see new buildings, and you get in there, and, I don't know, I've heard things about drywall being bad, and having mold on the inside, making people sick and everything. That's what they said about Gilmanton. There's mold in there, we're getting sick. And I drive by there and the building's empty. And I just, you know what? I think that's more disrespectful to the people who put money in the budget. And you're talking about, we're getting hit with a lot. Yes, I'm retiring soon. Maybe not. And I gotta tell you, if you think I'm pissy tonight, if I can't retire when I want to, and I have to do it when I need to. Yeah, you know what? My hair gets frizzy. That'll be your first one.
I'll be right beside you.
Ellen Coulter, Northfield. I want to see better facilities for our firefighters. And thinking about the plan B, is it possible, have you entertained the idea of maybe in Tilton, building all the bells and whistles here, and then maintaining Northfield somewhat as it is, maybe a few upgrades, but keep more ambulance, and since it's more of a garage, ambulance in Northfield, and more fire here.
So, myself and Deputy Robinson and Chief Seatar, when he was here, we sat down and talked about that, and we cross-staff. The same staff are on the ambulance that are on the engine, so you need that cross-staffing. So wherever the guys are, there needs to be fire apparatus.
They go out in unison, don't they? The ambulance and the
So
fire?
it depends on the call type. If it's a minor, but I don't even want to say minor or major, but some medicals, just the ambulance goes. Some medicals, the fire truck and the ambulance goes. On a fire call, the same thing. If it's a fire alarm activation, the ambulance and engine goes. And the reason we do that, because 25 to 30% of the time, we're going to have another call, and they can split off. The only time we take one apparatus is a building fire. On that initial building fire tone, we take just 4 people in that one fire truck. Everything else, we do take both an ambulance and an engine. And again, not only is our biggest medical problem down in the village, but our biggest fire problems down in the village because of the multifamily non-sprinkled buildings. We have a good amount of 10, 12, 13 unit buildings down there that are well over 100 years old. And then there's a lot of 3, 4, 5 families down there. They're all, our whole Main Street remains unsprinkled. We actually have a proposal to renovate one of the buildings for a sprinkler. So we're very excited about that. Our downtown remains a huge fire risk without sprinklers in it, and those buildings are old, cut up. They have shared basements and shared attics, so the fire can spread quickly across that. That's why we're trying to concentrate. If we only have 4 staff, they need to be in the village. If we want to protect the eastern part of the town, that's where we need the 2 additional staff come into play to protect the eastern part of the East Tilton area that is rapidly growing. But our fire risk and our EMS risk remains steady and actually increasing in the village. Does that kind of answer that question? So that's where the risks are, that's where our target hazards are. And that's, we can't take the staff from there and bring them this way and ignore that risk down there.
Question comes up then, how come the last 3 years we've been told the more number of our calls are at the 140 intersection area?
So back in 2018, we used to use census tracts. We had 8 different census tracts that told us where our call volume was. We went to 5 districts. The village shrunk, and the eastern part and the western part got bigger. And I'm not confident in that data. I think we did heat mapping back in 2010. That heat mapping really showed, yes, exit 20 was busy, but the village was much busier. We haven't done heat mapping since 2010. Not to get too deep into it, but we're going to be able to heat map on our own starting January 1st with the new national fire reporting software. We can't heat map right now. I'd love to have heat maps. I wish we'd heat map every year. It would really tell us where our call volume is. Just so you know, eastern part of the town, it's not here east. Like, so if you're driving down Concord Road, which is Park Street turns into Concord Road, if you're driving south, everything to your left is East Tilton. So Highland Mountain Bike Park, eastern part of the district, I'm sorry. Highland Mountain Bike Park, all of Bay Street, all of Shaker Road, that whole area is considered the east portion of the town. And then if you go up School Street, once you're out of the village, everything on School Street is considered the eastern part of the town. And so so the eastern part of the town is ginormous. It's really big. I wish we had heat mapping. It would really tell us where our calls are. We're going to have it going forward. We could pay to get it back, but the backdated stuff. But it's just not something that I as a computer savant, I'm not, to get that done. We had the firefighters actually paid to have the last heat mapping done in 2010. That wasn't paid for by the fire district. I think the fire district's last one was 2008. We have not had heat mapping done since then. So we just really, it's 5 districts, whether it's in the village, East Tilton, West Tilton, East Northfield, West Northfield. It's not a great representation of where our calls are, I don't believe personally.
You said that Tilton Northfield would be an optimal one-station town, and I know that you said that at the moment that's not available. If you had a location within these 2 towns that you would pick, where would it be?
The eastern portion of the village district. So basically from Cumberland Farms to MB Tractor. That would be, I think, ideal location for a one-station fire department. I just don't think the land exists.
You don't think you could get somebody to sell for $2 million?
That's the question.
I was gonna ask that if you could buy the land for half of what a second department would cost, you could save money. And then I was gonna ask if you had just the one station, would you need less equipment and less men? Firefighters.
I believe we're getting to the point where we need more staff, whether we have one station or 2. The 4 men just really aren't. We're at our limit. Again, this year, one of my goals this year. Again, I've only been in this position for a week and a half, so I can't get everything done at once. One of my goals this year is to look at other fire departments in New Hampshire, see. Because you can't just say how many calls and how many staff. It's a tough thing. So I'd like to see how many transports. That's like what takes our time is the transports to the hospital. Where unfortunately, there's no hospital in our district, right? So 60% of the time we go to Franklin, 20% of the time we go to Laconia, 20% of the time we go to Concord. I'd like to do a study on how many how many calls we do, how many transports we do, and how many staff members each department has. I'd like to, that's data I could probably take a few weeks, a month to get together and really compile. But I think we're already at our limit with the 4 staff on duty. We can't really be able to absorb much more without some either mutual aid, regionalization, or additional staff. We're going to have to get there soon.
I mean, was there ever any thought to just having ambulance locations and not full-blown fire stations, and have one fire station and?
We did talk about that a little bit, and it really just comes down to, we cross-staff, right? So if I need those guys to be able to get on the fire truck for medicals, for motor vehicle accidents and fire, but I also need that ambulance. So I need to have the cross-staff. I need the guy, the person working that day to be able to get on a fire truck or get on an ambulance.
So you could still do that, but just have one fire station with satellite ambulance stations, and they're all trained to do both, and they rotate, something like that?
We could, I would rather see, if you want to do a satellite station, just have one engine, but that would, you'd have to position them throughout the town. You could do, like you said, it'd be one engine, one ambulance, I know there's towns that do that, and districts that do that. I haven't studied them myself, see what that looks like.
Well, I guess I'd like to throw out to the crowd, we proposed that $7 or $8 million a few years back. No. We proposed an addition to Park Street. No. We proposed for the 48 years I've been on the department, we had the opportunity to build a station down in Northfield for $350,000. No, it's a Taj Mahal. What do we gotta do? We're working out of a station built in the 1800s. What will you people vote for? What will you approve?
Something we can afford.
What's that?
Something we can afford.
I agree. I agree. But we've never been able to afford it. Like I say, we had a beautiful station designed back in 1978. For $350,000, held 8 vehicles, slept 8 firemen, and the answer was no. And again, it's not going to get cheaper, and I get it.
You're just going to probably just keep getting the answer no, though.
Well,
that's what we always did. So I got elected commissioner in 2015. I did 2015 to 18. I sat on the 2016 building committee that came up. We had $4.7 million, and it was in the sweet spot. Tilton School's going to donate the property to us. And frankly, the biggest argument I remember at that time wasn't so much the money, but it seemed like everybody had let me put this politely, everybody was peeved about the fact that Tilton School was going to gain. We were going to build the road to the fire station, but that Tilton School would have access to their back property that they donated to us. I don't get the psychology behind that, but that's what went down. So now we talk about, hey, what if we had a piece of property we could buy for $2 million over there? Okay, well, let's look at the timing of that. How do we operate as a district? So how do we secure a $2 million piece of property, have someone hold on to it for us until the next warrant or until the next election cycle? I come up, March 30th, hey, I found a piece of property. That's great. Can you hang on to it for a year? We're going to see if we can get it approved. We're going to throw up a warrant for $2 million. And now we have a piece of property for $2 million. Now we've got to design a fire station that's going to go on that $2 million piece of property. And in the last 50, 60 years, we haven't been able to agree on anything. Mike just said we went back as far as what, 78, 75?
Yeah, that was the first one I remember.
Yeah. So if we haven't been able to do it since 1978, I sure as hell don't think we're going to get a $2 million piece of property approved that we can look at. Tilton tried that a few times. We bought and sold property at Tilton at a loss for I don't know how many times.
That would have been perfect.
But it's just, it is. Is that an answer? No, it's not an answer, but it does get frustrating sitting on all these building facility committees for all these years. And every year, every time we come up with a proposal, we come to these info sessions just before we come to district meetings, and we have everybody show up and say, hey, why don't you do this? I mean, we've been meeting 4 years now for this last iteration. I've seen one, other than people that are on the committees, I don't see a lot of you faces. I recognize from around town, but I don't ever recognize from seeing anybody with any input at any of these. And we're all taxpayers. Like I said, we're volunteers and taxpayers. We're not this evil group of people trying to suck as much money out of the taxpayers' wallets as we can. We come up with, we have a bunch of data that's put in front of us, and we say, okay, what does the fire station needs? These are the modern needs. This is the call data. This is what we have available for properties. What do we do? So we
But you just can't walk here and throw a number at us and expect us to swallow it. You got to expect a pushback. You've got to. Every dollar that we spend, I pay $6,500 in property taxes, and I pay $1,200 to look at the mountains every year. I have a view tax. And I was told by the people in this town, if I didn't like it, to leave. What kind of an attitude is that to have? And now you want to add $500 more to my tax base.
No,
My wife died. Hold on a second. My wife died in my home last June, and it took 13 minutes for the fire department to respond. I don't care if they were in Timbuktu. Somebody else should be. Samberton wouldn't come up. You wouldn't call Samberton to come up. You wouldn't call Franklin to come up. When a person is non-responsive, that's number one priority. And now you want to spend all this money. I'm sorry, I'm not in favor of it. Build one facility in one place. Stop doubling all of the equipment that you need. Stop doing that and save the town some money. If you have to buy a piece of property for $2 million, you're saving it and doubling up the equipment. I don't understand why you don't take Central Street Station and knock it down and put a building there. I just don't understand that.
Not a footprint.
Make one.
There's
You
not
know,
enough
this is the
footprint.
idea. Let's start doing stuff here instead of going, oh, I can't do this because of RSA 2572/:75,452. Let's get this
No one
done.
is going to give the fire district eminent domain to start taking
Come
people's
on,
houses.
get this done. Put it right there on Central Street.
So Tom, you
What?
and I, and a few others in this room, were on the committee that built the building that we're sitting in.
Right.
It was the most expensive police department design we've ever had out of probably 10 committees. Why did you go for it? Why did you pull it through? Why did it work? And why are you and I sitting in this building out of all the most expensive one we could have done? How did it happen?
We worked our ass off. We got the land for nothing. Archdiocese of New Hampshire gave it to us.
Free land.
And it goes all the way over here.
Yep. And the site work.
And we're going to lose a park to put a fire station in.
Have you read okay, that's a good argument. The 2025 park schedule, do you have a copy?
No.
When I make my coffee in the morning, I open a cabinet and I look at the whole park schedule. That park is not been used in the 2025 park schedule for all their scheduled events.
But it's not advertised either.
You have not because you asked not.
Wasn't it originally supposed to be a football field as part of the deal with this?
It was a football.
It's not big enough.
Well, look, it can be turned.
If you turned it, it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it would.
No, it wouldn't. There's not enough end zone. It's a practice field at best, and it can be. But that's the other thing too, is the recreational part of this town. We got best pocket park, where you can put 1 foot in it and the next foot's out of it, you know?
Not big enough for a fire station.
Not big enough for a fire station.
Okay, but I would like to go back to the point that was made earlier. You know, I've gone to some of these meetings this year, and I know what's going on, and I have an understanding of most of it. Whether I agree with everything or not, at least I was able to voice my ideas and my suggestions during that period. And nobody else was here, including you. And you want to get up now and beat everybody up to just get something done, when you haven't been here helping them try and get something done that they've been trying since 1978.
I have been on the committee to get this built, and it's a
You're talking about
it's
the
a conflict
people
of
we're talking
interest for me
about.
to be on 2 committees at the same
I didn't
time.
ask you to be on the committee, just come to the commissioners' meetings. They hold them every month.
I'm on the planning board also, same time. It's the same time.
So,
Come on. I'm more involved in this town than you are.
Well, I don't live in Tilton, so.
I appreciate the passion. If you've noticed, I've been over here writing out all the different topics that we've been talking about. And we certainly appreciate it, and that's why we called the session. Is there any other comment or question about any other topic that maybe we haven't talked about? And we'll try to wrap this up in the next 20 minutes.
Mine would be just everybody in the room, tell your friends and relatives, neighbors, come to the next meeting on Wednesday and voice your opinion. Whether it's gonna happen or not, voice your opinion so people know.
And we're having another session Wednesday down at the Park Street Station, same time, 6:30.
Have a PA system.
Yeah, have a PA system. All right, we'll have to Well,
Anybody have one?
It'll echo.
well, let's see if we can do that. Kevin, you have your hand up?
Relative to the guaranteed maximum price, the gentleman, I'm gonna say that word, has indicated that there was generally, I'm gonna paraphrase, a significant difference between guaranteed maximum price and the actual final cost.
Guaranteed maximum price, the price that we went in with the best subcontractors that we knew, that we trusted to give us the best price with a schematic design. Typically, when we do projects as of these, once the design is done, we go out and we get modified pricing on each trade, which is a minimum of 3 to 5 trades on every trade. The prices come down. And you people realize this, when you go with guaranteed maximum price, this is the number that has to stand. You can't come back and add to it. I'm not gonna come in and cheapen this thing and just to try to get it through, and then come back and say, we don't have enough money to do it. So typically, on our past projects, we come back with significant savings once the design is completed and the bid process is completed.
You indicated that you just finished a station somewhere?
A couple of years ago in Hudson, New Hampshire.
What was that guaranteed maximum price and what was the final price?
Guaranteed maximum price was 3.9 million, and we came in at 3.9 million, we finished at 3.4 million. And what they did with the additional funding, they added cost for the apparatus bay heating system. And they bought more land next door for future expansion, so the town appropriated that 3.9 million. We came in with a significant amount of savings, but they elected to use that savings, and they added things to the fire station that wasn't originally designed, and they bought additional land for future expansion.
So you built a fire station for $4 million? How times change, huh?
Well, it was a substation, it wasn't the main station, it was in Hudson, New Hampshire.
Yeah, it did not have admin offices, or it was stationed for dormitories, but it had all the, all the same amenities with the decon station and the.
Yeah.
So that's about $500,000 on $4 million, right? Yep.
There's another hand over here. No. Oh, got all kinds of hands. All right, we'll go count them up.
So I would have a hard time swallowing 20 million. I'll just say that up front. That's a hard number for me to swallow.
What is the number that would work?
That you're ahead of me. If we gave you as the fire chief, if we gave you the Park Station Street, if we gave you that station, I would be significantly more comfortable with 12 million and saying, let's build out a really good station there. Would that be adequate, or would that still be subpar? Even 12 million is still a hard number, but I'm significantly happier with something like that. And I'm not a resident of Tilton. I've been a resident of Tilton for 5 years, so I know I don't have quite the same amount of clout as a lot of people here.
So that's a.
Same one vote as I do.
I don't know if I want to answer that question like straight out. I want to have a discussion with Deputy Robinson. What I can tell you is wherever you put us, we'll operate, and my guys will respond from that station. It's really, where do you want us? We have to be somewhere in the village. Where do you want us to be? That leaves a significant response time delay to the eastern portion of Tilton especially. To get to the Winnisquam Bridge from the Park Street Station, I would assume because right now we're at a 14-minute response time. We're going to add probably 3 minutes to that, so it'll be a 17-minute response time to the eastern portion of Tilton. That's I don't want to say that's a risk you guys need to accept. If we just have one station at Park Street, putting it at Park Street significantly increases the response time to a big portion of the community. Because south of Park Street, there isn't there isn't a lot of calls there, right? So you're putting us at the southern portion of the village district. Would I say it's not possible? I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not possible. I have 4 trained staff. I put my staff up against anybody's. We have 8 paramedics on staff. We have a senior staff that has been, I don't know the average years, but it's probably 13 to 15 years. We have guys who've been here for a long time. My guys will respond from anywhere in the district and provide a good service. It's where do you want us to be and how close do you want us to be to that? And I'm telling you that the village district is the biggest threat, you know, as far as risk management is concerned. And so having us there is necessity. But putting us in the southern portion of that village district really puts the eastern portion of the town at a disadvantage. So I don't want to say it's not a possible thing, but it really is something that the community, I'm not sure, would, especially the community that's in the eastern portion of the district, would be able to swallow that.
But the simple fact of expanding the department, one station larger, greatly helps second calls.
Yes.
That's my impression.
Yeah. I could help second calls by just putting a second ambulance at Center Street right now.
Yep.
All right, let's keep moving.
Oh yeah, real quick, thank you for your work on the committee. I see you guys all the time, countless hours, I really appreciate it. I just had a procedural question. When we come to vote, is this like an all or nothing, like both stations, or will people be able to piece together like just the Park Street at the meeting, or procedurally how would that look? Like what are the options?
Well, traditionally, and there's a lot of experts in the room who could answer this question probably better than I, but no, we would come with a warrant article for a project, and that would be up or down vote. Would that be it? Yeah.
So are you saying that if Tilton votes for it, no?
No. Yeah, no.
It's
It's a district.
Everybody
Yeah.
else.
All right, we had another question over here.
I'm gonna go back to the original building that we were looking at about 3 years ago. Did the building committee get a cost difference for demolition versus upgrading to ICC 155 2023, and how much was that? So ICC is the emergency apparatus code that they have to do, and that talks about our winds, our tornadoes, our hurricanes, things like that.
John, can I ask you a question? You were on this very committee.
I was.
You were a commissioner.
I was.
And you resigned.
I moved out of district, and I'm moving back to district. It's a public meeting, and I will take my time to speak.
I'm not saying you're not allowed to speak. What I'm trying to get across is you sat at these tables. So now to circle back around. And
I would
say
never have
why
gone this
you
way.
have
This is the product of a poisoned fruit, and we all know where that's coming from. That's what we had a direction we were going. You're not talk to the moderator then. We had a process we were going 3 years ago. It got sidewinded because of someone's opinion. So I actually think if you went to this next year, you might actually get a realistic approach, since we've already heard that our high amount of calls over at 140 is maybe different than we've been told for the last 5 years by someone. So I actually would like to know what that cost would be to upgrade the garages to the current code requirement, put the structural inside. Yes, you would have a couple of I-beams in there to set up a new piece across, what that would have costed to do it that way, and then put the apparatus bays over there. As we designed, when we bought the extra property, everything was designed for that. Park Street was designed to have an addition put on that side. It's where we were 10 years ago plus.
Okay, well, we don't have that information, but.
Can you get it for Wednesday?
Probably not, no.
Okay.
Before, lady in the back there?
I just was considering if we were to go to the Plan B, and like this gentleman just said about considering Northfield to be the primary location, is there a possibility that the Center Street location has the possibility of being condemned? Is that a feasibility if we?
Would you want it condemned?
No, I don't, but I mean, John was just saying, if we put all our money into the Northfield one to satisfy that village district, so to speak, would that be sufficient for the time being, and then another year come back for another portion, maybe to build onto this facility? So you wouldn't swallow the whole thing at once, you know, you have to Plan B.
Just kind of following up on Scott's comment, this kind of sounds like you guys are trying to feel the room for like what the community supports. Almost sounds like it might be best served if you put each station as a standalone warrant.
Yeah.
Then the community has the opportunity to vote how it feels at this meeting on the whole proposed project versus how the project might make some forward progress while not having such a huge focus.
On that though, I mean, the design is to accommodate everything that we have right now, so but if you, my concern, is, okay, so let's vote for one that doesn't serve the needs. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, well, we'll vote for this one, now we're still 6 days short.
I don't think one or the other solves any of the issues. If you take what we have right here, right now, it's 12 million and 8 million. You put them separately, you build one or the other, you're not solving the problem.
Because like with Northfield, if you have one station at Northfield, and we threw out one of the things we were looking at, I mean, we looked at like a multi-level fire station, which you can do. I mean, we were cutting things down, it's like, because that adds a lot of cost when you take the square footage, you put an elevator in, and that's an original cost, and then more cost later on down the road, maintenance and inspections and all that stuff. So having a single floor, it's more palatable for everybody involved. But so I'm not saying, could a station be built down in Northfield that was one whole station? Sure. But now you want to use what area, because now we're confined to actual square footage of land. So now your whole bottom, the whole first floor is pretty much, you've got to accommodate all your equipment. So then you have to redesign the building. So what we have here by Lorero is they designed, this is a design according to the concept that we came up with to accommodate the land, what we have, and so on and so forth. So my thing is, if we take it to a warrant, yes, it's gonna be one package, because it has to be one package. If it doesn't go to warrant, or if it gets voted down, then yeah, and if everybody comes back, hopefully get more input earlier than 4 years later in a project, then you know what, you design the building for that property. But you can't, I just, trying to like piecemeal the design that we have for the concept that we have it's just not, it's not feasible in my opinion, to vote even, each building or so forth.
So a lot of these questions and comments have been coming up over the years with the committee itself and from the commissioners. And so I want to thank you all for taking the time to come out and providing that feedback. And we'll do this again on Wednesday. And then the committee will meet to review all the comments that came up, and we'll move forward from there. And that's what the session was for. Again, a reminder that I should give a shout out to the firefighters who were all here. Thank them for coming, and they've all left. My bad on that. All this documentation and more is out on the fire department website. If you're on the website, you go to the committees, you go to the building committee, and then you'll see a link to all the forms and documents, and you can pull up all kinds of forms that we put there.
Tim, just for clarification, Wednesday's meeting is basically a redo of tonight's meeting, just a more convenient
We're do it
location.
again for those folks who
So
couldn't
there'll be
make it.
nothing new there.
Is there a coffee pot down in the station?
Get a PA.
Coffee?
Say, get a PA.
On Wednesday? That's not, no coffee in there.
Any last words, Sean?
No, thank you for coming. I guess all I can say, please feel free to give me a call. I'll answer any of your questions anytime. You can call, email me, stop by, and I'll be happy to have discussions. Again, my office is right up there, and you can, so thank you for coming tonight.
Paul?
Yeah. Thank you all for your input and listening, but also realize that every meeting that we have is open to the public. And getting your guidance along the way is a lot more beneficial than having upset.
This is the first opportunity to, okay, see how you are.
But I wasn't doing what you were saying.
Any last words?
Free coffee and donuts for veterans, Wednesday morning 9 to 11 at the Legion.
I want to thank everybody for coming. I've been on this committee, I was on the previous committee, I've been on this thing for years, and we never get anything built. I will tell you, I am a senior citizen, I am living off Social Security, I've been retired, and we did not have this price until we came up with a floor plan that worked for the department, and the two floor plans. So when we got the sticker shock, I'm having the same heart attack you. So we would love input as to how you think we can reduce cost, but we cut, I can tell you, we cut square footage, like the dorm rooms, the 2 stories, the garage space we left because we know the equipment takes space. So we worked tirelessly at chopping, and this is what we ended up with. Then we got the sticker shock. If we can cut more, we would. But I like hearing the feedback. It's good, and I'm having the same issues that you are as a taxpayer and a senior citizen. So I thank you for coming because I wanted to hear your input.
Thank you, everyone.
It's a district vote, so it's at one time you go in.
What's your name? I didn't
UTV, the 9 people are going to design. It's the one day, it's a Monday night after there's no big thing like this. It just comes up there. There'll be 100. Won't say why.
Because we're not, we are a district, so we are a municipality. So that's why we have to separate that. So it's coming back. We collaborate because obviously we negotiated like this land swap. It's obviously all guys. Right, so this is we have a whole bunch of stuff.
This is Stan? Are these equal years? Do they collapse somehow?
Yeah, it's like a tent.
Oh, they just first the man on the moon and now that. Hopefully they take a light rudder.
So they wrote the directive.
Stairs and a ramp. No high stairs or anything like that. So go down 3 or 4 feet or something, 6 stairs down, that's quick, and then you got the ramp for done. And then you put 4 bays wide open. And then you get that, so you get your 8 bays, just like that. And then you need to go, you put a couple. Done. So, build 2 bays. And then that, yeah. Not yet. I got some of my other house. That's the reason why when we started going that way, it's like, go that way, go that way. So, the reason I'm coming back is my daughter is going to go that way. That's right. Got the fuck out of so we are building that.
I was talking about this
whole thing, you moved out. I don't know what caused it, and I couldn't see the camera. He's the one that told me to ramp the stairs.
And these photos, we're not thinking about Wednesday.